Let me tell you something that's going to make your blood boil. WWE just pulled off the most predictable, soul-crushing, creativity-killing championship defense I've witnessed in years, and somehow half the wrestling universe is celebrating it like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Cody Rhodes retained his undisputed championship against Drew McIntyre, and if you think this was anything more than corporate America spoon-feeding us the same vanilla superhero garbage they've been shoving down our throats for months, then you've been drinking way too much of that red, white, and blue Kool-Aid. The Scottish Warrior, a man who's bled, sweated, and sacrificed everything for this company, got absolutely robbed of what should have been his crowning moment, and I'm about to expose exactly why this decision represents everything that's wrong with modern professional wrestling. Stick around because by the time I'm done breaking this down, you'll understand why this match result isn't just disappointing, it's insulting to every wrestling fan who craves authentic storytelling over manufactured moments. But here's what really gets under my skin. Drew McIntyre has been carrying this company on his back through some of its darkest periods, delivering 5-star performances night after night, and what does he get? Another participation trophy, while the Golden Boy gets to play dress-up with championship gold he never truly earned through adversity. Who do you think has had more genuinely emotional moments in their WWE career, Cody or Drew? Drop your answer below. Let's dive into the match itself, because the in-ring action told a completely different story than the predetermined outcome WWE forced upon us. From the opening bell, Drew McIntyre looked like a man possessed, a warrior fighting for his very soul, while Cody Rhodes appeared to be going through the motions of another scripted superhero adventure. The intensity difference was so stark that even casual viewers had to notice the fire burning behind McIntyre's eyes compared to the calculated performance we got from Rhodes. McIntyre's Claymore attempts weren't just wrestling moves, they were desperation incarnate, each one representing years of overlooked brilliance and underappreciated dedication. When he connected with that devastating kick, the crowd erupted because they sensed something real, something authentic that WWE rarely delivers anymore. But then, like clockwork, Rhodes kicked out at 2.5, because heaven forbid we deviate from the corporate-approved narrative that's been suffocating creative wrestling storytelling for far too long. The technical wrestling displayed by both competitors was undeniably impressive, but it felt hollow knowing that no matter how spectacular McIntyre's performance became, the outcome was already written in permanent ink by executives who'd never stepped foot inside a wrestling ring. Every near fall became a cruel tease, every submission hold a false promise of change, and every crowd reaction a reminder of what could have been if wrestling was still about surprising audiences instead of protecting predetermined favorites. Which move do you think looks more devastating, Drew's Claymore or Cody's Crossroads? Let me know in the comments. Here's where things get really infuriating. The post-match celebration felt more like a corporate victory lap than a genuine championship moment. Rhodes held up those titles like he'd accomplished something extraordinary, when in reality, he'd just participated in the most elaborate participation trophy ceremony in recent wrestling memory. The confetti falling, the music blasting, the manufactured emotion, it all felt so artificial that I genuinely wondered if we were watching professional wrestling or a Disney movie with predetermined happy endings. Meanwhile, Drew McIntyre's devastated expression told the real story of this match. Here's a performer who's consistently delivered main event quality matches, who's proven his championship caliber time and time again, and who represents everything that's authentic about professional wrestling: passion, intensity, and genuine connection with the audience. But none of that mattered because the corporate machine had already decided that Rhodes' storyline was more marketable than McIntyre's raw talent and dedication. The crowd's reaction throughout this match revealed something fascinating about modern wrestling audiences. Every time McIntyre gained momentum, you could feel the energy shift, as if people were desperately hoping for something unexpected, something real. But every time Rhodes regained control, that energy deflated because deep down, everyone knew exactly where this story was heading. We've become so accustomed to predictable outcomes that we've forgotten what genuine surprise feels like in professional wrestling. Do you think WWE crowds have become too predictable in their reactions, or are they just responding to predictable booking? Share your thoughts. Let's talk about what this result means for the championship landscape, because retaining these titles in such a formulaic manner diminishes their prestige more than any controversial finish ever could. Championships should represent the pinnacle of athletic achievement and storytelling excellence, not participation trophies for corporate-approved characters who check all the right marketing boxes. When Rhodes walks around with those belts, what story do they tell? That persistence pays off? That good guys always win? Or that WWE values brand recognition over authentic competition? McIntyre's championship credentials speak for themselves: multiple title reigns during challenging periods, consistently excellent performances, and genuine connection with audiences worldwide. Yet here he is, playing second fiddle to a competitor whose greatest achievement seems to be generating social media buzz and selling merchandise. The message this sends to every hard-working performer in that locker room is crystal clear: talent matters less than marketability, and authentic emotion matters less than manufactured moments. The technical aspects of this match actually highlighted why McIntyre deserved victory even more than the predetermined outcome suggested. His ring psychology was masterful, his timing impeccable, and his ability to make every move feel consequential demonstrated why he's considered one of the most complete performers of his generation. Rhodes, while competent, relied heavily on signature spots and crowd-pleasing moments that felt more like performance art than competitive wrestling. Which wrestler do you think has better ring psychology, the ability to tell stories through their matches? Drop your pick in the comments. But here's what really exposes the deeper problems with this booking decision. It represents WWE's continued unwillingness to take creative risks or trust their audience to embrace complex storytelling. McIntyre winning would have created immediate questions, compelling feuds, and unpredictable directions for multiple storylines. Instead, we got the safest possible outcome that maintains status quo and protects their chosen golden boy from any real adversity or character development. The international implications of this result can't be ignored either. McIntyre represents Scotland, the United Kingdom, and international wrestling fans who rarely see their representatives reach the absolute pinnacle of sports entertainment. His victory would have sent a message that WWE truly is a global company that values performers from all backgrounds. Instead, this result reinforces the perception that certain types of performers, regardless of talent level, will always be prioritized over others. Think about the long-term storytelling possibilities that were sacrificed for this predictable outcome. A McIntyre championship reign could have revitalized the entire main event scene, created fresh matchup possibilities, and forced creative teams to develop more compelling narratives around legitimate competition rather than predetermined character arcs. Instead, we're stuck with more of the same superhero nonsense that's been poisoning wrestling storytelling for years. Which country or region do you think produces the most underrated wrestling talent? Let me know your thoughts. The most frustrating aspect of this entire situation is how it exposes the disconnect between what wrestling fans actually want and what corporate executives think they should want. Social media reactions, live crowd responses, and general fan sentiment clearly indicated massive support for McIntyre, yet none of that authentic audience engagement mattered when weighed against predetermined corporate narratives and marketing strategies. Rhodes' championship reign has been characterized by safe, predictable defenses against challengers who never felt like genuine threats to his title security. Every match follows the same formula: early dominance by the challenger, Rhodes' comeback, dramatic near-falls, and inevitable retention. It's become so formulaic that you could write the match results before the opening bell, which completely undermines the fundamental unpredictability that makes professional wrestling compelling entertainment. McIntyre's career trajectory tells a completely different story, one of genuine adversity, authentic emotion, and hard-earned respect from peers and audiences alike. His championship reigns have felt meaningful because they represented real accomplishments rather than marketing opportunities. When he holds championship gold, it carries weight because you believe he's earned it through superior performance rather than corporate favoritism. The in-ring chemistry between these two competitors actually made this predetermined outcome even more frustrating to watch. They worked incredibly well together, creating genuinely suspenseful moments that had audiences believing change might actually occur. But that hope was systematically crushed by a result that prioritized corporate comfort over creative excellence and authentic storytelling. What's the longest you've ever believed a predetermined outcome might actually change during a match? Tell me in the comments. Here's the broader context that makes this result even more problematic. WWE is currently in a position where they could afford to take creative risks and trust their audience to embrace compelling storytelling over safe, predictable outcomes. Their financial stability, global reach, and talented roster provide every tool necessary for revolutionary wrestling entertainment, yet they consistently choose the path of least creative resistance. McIntyre represents everything that's authentic about professional wrestling: genuine passion, international appeal, technical excellence, and emotional connection with audiences. Rhodes, while certainly talented, represents the corporate manufactured approach that prioritizes marketability over authenticity and brand recognition over genuine competition. The choice between these philosophies was clear, and WWE chose corporate comfort over creative excellence. The post-match reactions from both competitors told the real story of this encounter. McIntyre's genuine disappointment contrasted sharply with Rhodes' rehearsed celebration, highlighting the difference between authentic emotion and manufactured moments. Wrestling is at its best when those emotions feel real, when outcomes feel consequential, and when audiences believe anything might happen. This result achieved none of those essential elements. Do you prefer wrestlers who show genuine emotion after losses or those who stay in character no matter what? Let me know. Looking ahead, this result creates a troubling precedent for championship booking in WWE. If marketability consistently trumps authentic competition, if predetermined narratives always override audience preferences, and if corporate-approved characters always receive preferential treatment, then what incentive exists for performers to develop genuine connections with audiences or deliver exceptional performances? The international wrestling community deserves better representation than what this result provides. McIntyre's championship victory would have sent a powerful message about WWE's commitment to global talent and diverse storytelling. Instead, this outcome reinforces existing hierarchies and suggests that certain performers, regardless of their contributions or abilities, will always be positioned as supporting characters in someone else's predetermined story. The technical wrestling showcased in this match actually demonstrated why predetermined outcomes can be so damaging to the sport's credibility. Both competitors delivered exceptional performances that deserved to be rewarded with genuine uncertainty about the final result. Instead, their excellent work was undermined by an outcome that felt inevitable from the opening bell, diminishing the impact of their athletic and artistic achievements. Rhodes' championship reign lacks the authentic adversity that creates compelling champions and memorable title defenses. Every challenger feels temporary, every defense feels predetermined, and every victory feels hollow because audiences can sense the corporate protection surrounding his character. Championship reigns should feel dangerous, uncertain, and earned through superior performance rather than marketing considerations. What makes a championship reign feel legitimate to you, the booking, the matches, or something else entirely? Drop your answer below and let's discuss. The most damaging aspect of this result is how it diminishes the very concept of championship competition in professional wrestling. When outcomes feel predetermined, when corporate favorites receive obvious protection, and when authentic talent takes a backseat to marketing strategies, the entire foundation of sports entertainment becomes questionable. Championships should represent the pinnacle of competitive achievement.